Welcome back to our second, and we are coming back. We are welcoming back to our second division preview today. We have Tony on the couch to represent his Niners in the NFC West. We're going to be taking it team by team, starting with the Cardinals. All the lines that you see are represented at BetMGM, so if you want to go sign up on there, make sure you use code BETS when you sign up, and you can get up to $1,500 in bonus bets. So make sure to lock that in. But for today, JMO, Nick are also here, obviously, as well. Super Bowl winner at plus 5,000. 8.5 is the win total. Honestly, not much has changed, I feel like, for the Cardinals. Not much has changed. What are our first initial reactions?
I think their D could be good. I like what they did in the draft a lot. Josh Sweat was a good addition to them. The offense, it just felt like last year they never clicked. And it feels like there wasn't a ton of improvement down the stretch either. So I'm very up in the air about how I feel about the offense going into this year.
But did you see Kyler's TikTok about him, Marvin Harrison?
No.
They're going to be locked. Like they're going to be like this now.
What was the video?
It was just like a hype video of them.
Were they enemies last year?
Apparently, it was some,
Fire.
I don't know.
I just don't know what it's going to take for them to take the next step. Drew Petzing as the OC is unproven to me, and
horrible.
If he doesn't, if he don't change his ways, I don't know how I'm going to feel about the team.
Yeah, running it back with the same squad feels like a massive L.
Yeah, I feel like the schedule though is not bad. Looking at the schedule, I don't see many games where
those first 6 weeks are fucking juicy.
Right.
Also,
legit. That's got to be the easiest first 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Carolina week 2. Yeah, that's a lock.
I feel like trying to predict a schedule difficulty in June is an impossible task.
Yeah, it's.
I don't even think it's
a general idea though.
That back.
I don't think so.
Tough, though.
The Saints are going to be terrible.
Sure. I think you can accurately predict the first 2.5 games for teams, and then it's you really don't know how those teams are going to fare in the back end.
It does overall though compared to we looked at the AFC North.
Yep.
In the last one, it's when you have Baltimore and Cincy and all those guys on your schedule multiple times, it looks a million times more difficult than this. Yeah. You see, multiple Seattles, you see those teams, and they're fine teams, but overall, I think the schedule is not too bad. I just worry about who Kyler is as a quarterback outside of statistics.
Yeah, when I was in Arizona not that long ago, I didn't talk to a lot of people about it, but it felt like people in Arizona, Cardinal fans, were really over Kyler Murray. And so I wonder if that's a consensus or not. But because most teams, I feel there's at least a third of the league that would probably take Kyler Murray than the shitty quarterback situation that they're probably in.
Yes, 100%.
Nowadays, though, if you're not a top guy, it's not enough. We're not happy with that.
I would agree. If you're outside of those top 5 guys, but
the thing with Kyler is he had so much promise early on, and when you have a really fun, explosive new quarterback like that, you get a lot of leeway into you're going to grow into the player that we want you to be, like Lamar, right? You see him early on, he's so much excitement around him, but then he progresses and gets better and better and better. And it feels like Kyler's hitting that point where it's we need to see that improvement. Otherwise, you're just still the same player you were as a rookie or a sophomore. And we're at that breaking-ish point, it feels like.
Yeah. Looking at the lines, though, I've never been more confident in Trey McBride going over 4.5 receiving touchdowns. Last year, he didn't have them, but he had all the red zone targets in the world to do it. He finished with, I think, 2 total. But I think this year, he's going to have to be an end zone threat. Obviously, Marvin Harrison comes back. He's going to be kind of their main guy, but I think Trey is going to have a pretty big impact there, especially because I think James Conner kind of is going to hit a wall at some point in time. He's so due to just get worse. It's just beyond, his age cliff has got to come at some point. And as soon as that happens, they're going to have to rely on the passing game a little bit more, maybe on Kyler's legs a little bit more. 4.5 rushing touchdowns could be a little bit of a move.
A big year for the team. I can see them blow it up if they don't do well.
Dude, I kind of think so too. I don't know if drafting in the top 3 is really in the range of outcomes, but if a disaster hit like that, I could totally see them moving off of Kyler.
They're not going to be bad enough to get up there.
I don't think so either. It would require an injury on Murray's part pretty much. But
and also it's I don't know. They have good young pieces to start building. Their offensive line is actually sneaky very good. Paris Johnson came into his own last year and became a staple for them. I think their O-line's good. Marv and Trey are awesome young pieces to build around. And I think their defense will be pretty good. So it's
Benson.
They're going to be a very middling team.
Is that crazy? Will he be good?
Trey Benson?
Fine, I guess. But I think Connor's gonna be pretty good this year. I just like with the McBride touchdowns, I kind of feel like he's still like the third or fourth option when they're down by the goal line.
Yeah.
Kyler running, Marv, James Conner running, like Michael Wilstein.
It does feel like a suspiciously low number for Trey McBride, especially when like him scoring 1 touchdown last year and how that is a ridiculous outcome based on his usage. Like that's not an unknown thing. Like it feels like they probably should have had it higher just based on the work that he got in the red zone. But
it's not, but I feel like I had a stat in one of my videos like a couple weeks ago that like McBride through I think maybe like 50 career games so far has an insanely low touchdown rate. So he might just be one of those dudes that like isn't a touchdown.
The year before Jake Ferguson got like a shit ton of targets, red zone targets, and then we were like, oh, this is.
He had 4, and then he had like 0 last year or 1 last year. So it's some of it's like game plan dependent, where it's like you have the Julios of the world, the guys that just like don't get into the end zone because their team doesn't run their goal line offense through them. I do think though, like McBride, if I had to lean one way, I would definitely take the over on it. But
100%.
I don't feel great about anything on the board.
Team total
honestly.
8.5. Which way you leaning?
I was gonna say that feels high. That
You're
feels
going
really
under?
high. Yeah.
Gun to your head, you're taking the under.
I don't think they're above a 500 team. I don't think they win more games than they lose.
Okay.
8.5's a respectful number.
It's fairly respectful. I had the Cardinals as my surprise bad team when we did surprise good, surprise bad, but I kind of felt like that was cheating because I didn't realize their win total was at 8.5. Like that just feels like a lot.
I'd lean under.
Under.
I'd actually take the over.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a sneaky kind of good team.
I think they have a lot
Really?
of potential. Getting Will Johnson obviously is huge.
Yeah,
I
I think
think
their
he's gonna be a
defense
stud.
could be like super, super good.
That's who took. That was
Yeah.
when we were sitting on the couch,
Yep.
just waiting. I'm back. I'm back in.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean the over here. I'm a Kyler and Marv believer, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, you
still
think
ride
Marv
my
goes
boys.
over 9?
I think so. I think this
staying
year's
with
gonna be
900
6,000.
Yeah, just feels good, right?
It feels good.
Feels like you're giving me 100 discount.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you can hit
I mean,
1,000 this year.
you guys remember how we felt about Marvin last year? Like it was like he was a bot.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
I don't know what
Boomer
changes.
bust to the
That's
T.
my-
I think I agree with you there. It just feels like they were so average, maybe even below average, and they're like, let's do this again.
Yeah.
There was someone tweeted out that last year Marvin Harrison had 1 single target off of pre-snap motion.
Yeah, that's
like 1.
insane.
Yeah, the entire year. And there's like guys that are getting, like Brian Thomas Jr. had almost 500 receiving yards off of like slot and motion and stuff like that. And Marvin's just not set up to succeed there.
Shout out Drew Petzing again.
Oh,
They feel like a team that could make a head coaching change in the middle of the season.
Shout out. Coop looks
Jersey's
good.
just
All right.
kind of weird.
8.5 win total for the Seattle Seahawks. 6,600 for their Super Bowl odds. You see the schedule at the top left. Kenny Walker is projected to be the RB1.
66, wasn't the Cardinals 5?
Yep.
Interesting.
More respect for the Cards and the
Same win
Seahawks.
total.
They don't believe in Sam Darnold. They saw his playoff performance last year. What are your guys' initial gut feelings when you're looking at the Seahawks this year?
Do you guys agree that Sam Darnold's a downgrade from Geno?
Yes.
Okay. Because it feels like if all things go well for both quarterbacks, like 90th percentile outcome for each dude, their upsides could be similar. But Sam Darnold's downside feels disastrous, whereas Geno, I feel like, kind of gave you a sufficient floor.
It was like, I'm happy Darnold got his payday and had his peak season. Now I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, now that you got your
could
Yeah.
have more out on the Seattle, like the way they're building this offense.
Agreed. Like, I think it makes sense on paper. Like, you do the quarterback swap, you pick up a third round. Like, that feels like a nice rebuilding move. But to be at, like, 8.5 while making moves that would signal you're rebuilding feels also super high.
Like I'm so.
And then you
out on
sign Cooper Kupp, and it's like, what?
Yeah, that felt
It's like-
obviously weird, too, with JSN.
Cup's
Like,
cooked, yeah, and like what's the overlap of Cup to Jay? They were both like 90% slot guys last year. And the thing with Cup too is like even when you look back at all of his touches were manufactured in LA. Like they're not going to do that for him in Seattle this year. Kenneth Walker, if he stays healthy, he'll be good.
Coop could cook.
Who?
Kubiak.
Maybe. I guess.
Oh, I forgot that's who they
Yeah,
signed.
he's a big two-receiver guy. Big two-receiver guy. They're probably going to emphasize Jason and Coop.
Cup. If you put Cup on the outside though, like I have no faith
tough.
in him being able
No.
to beat man coverage anymore.
My thing is they're probably going to use a lot of condensed splits. They did that a lot with the Saints in the beginning of last year, where they just cut down a lot of splits to make it feel almost more slotty, but they're still going to have the outside corner on him. It just it makes it a lot more likely they don't press him. but we'll see.
I guess, but it's like
defense going to be good?
They should be. I feel like year 2 of Mike McDaniel should be like kind of great. Yeah.
Should be good.
I mean,
they were great last year. They were by the end of the year. They were top 10 defense.
They were getting it together for sure.
The weakness of this team is the O-line. And Sam Darnold with a bad O-line is
scary.
Disastrous.
They did. I will say, like, they did invest their first round pick. Gray Zabel. And we have seen, like, bad O-lines get, like, 1 or 2 good pieces and then kind of flip like the Buccaneers.
The Panthers.
Like, yeah, the Panthers. Actually, though, they're great O-line. The Buccaneers went from, like, 2 years ago, one of the worst O-lines in the NFL. They took, who's the center they took last year?
I don't know.
The Bucs?
Yeah, what was his name?
I'm thinking of like
Graham Barton.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're a top 5 line right now in the NFL. And I feel like things can move pretty quickly if you invest into it correctly. So like I could see them being an okay line, but I agree. Like if it goes south, Darnold's gonna fall through the floor.
Yeah, Charles Cross needs to step the fuck up.
You still
I
there?
was shocked they didn't just run it back with Geno. They went 10-7.
Dude, it feels like Geno. I think it was 2 seasons ago when they got Geno, they got Sam Howell, and you guys were like, dude, Geno's the man. I'm like, dude, like Sam Howell has just as much a chance as playing as Geno. And then like I was off of him at that point, but I think over the last 2 years, Geno has masked a lot of like bad parts of this team. I think he's had a really good back-to-back season. I'm surprised they got rid of him too, but
maybe Kubiak just doesn't like him.
Did you listen to the Athletic did a podcast? This was probably like a month or 2 ago about when like Geno and DK and they all left. I don't think it was like Seattle's choice at all. Like it was just Geno wanted to play with I think Pete Carroll, and then DK, they offered DK a big contract apparently, and he wanted out once Geno left too. So it was like they kind of went they went into a rebuild within like a 2-week period without them wanting to do that. Yeah,
I do kind of remember that.
This was like their attempt at being like, oh, we're not a bad team. Let's try to get our offense back together. But it feels just like a fucking mismatch of weirdos on the offense now.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, the only good one's like Kenneth Walker, obviously. So.
That podcast though loves Geno.
Love him.
They think he's like a top 5 quarterback.
If you blanked his name out like we just did in the Jeopardy, you would think they were talking about like Pat Mahomes.
Right.
It's crazy.
100%.
All right. Gun to your head, over under 8.5 wins.
Easiest escape from like a hostage situation. Just take the Seattle under.
Okay.
Gun to my head, I'm not even swaying.
I'm surprised it's even at 8.5.
I thought it would be lower than the Cards for sure.
It's got to be a lot of the schedule again, I feel like. But yeah, I'd lean under there too.
I will also be taking the under. Sadly, rip Ken Dubs. But next, you do have your boys, the 49ers, 10.5 win total. A pretty high total. Purdy, CMC's looking healthy again. Brandon Ayuk's going to be back healthy again. George Kittle should have another healthy season under his belt.
Yo, Purdy's touchdowns seem low, no?
24.5.
This is updated?
Updated.
Did you just say JJ was like 25?
Yeah.
Do you guys... I feel like I'm relatively pessimistic on the 49ers this year. Do you guys have a positive outlook about them going into this season?
I don't know. I'm also pretty pessimistic.
I'm excited for their offense.
See, I'm not. I think their defense, getting back Robert Saleh, and obviously everyone that they drafted, I think their entire draft was just defensive dudes. I think a lot of it is going to be able to having to stop the run because they were terrible at that last year. And I think they'll be good at that. I think their defense is actually like the biggest improvement to their offense and not needing to score as much as they had to last year. And I think that is like, that's my one hope with this team is that I think defensively they can be really good, and then offense we can kind of piece it together. Because I don't have any faith in any wide receiver. I'm not optimistic about Ayuk, Jennings, Pearsall.
Which one?
No, I'm not. I'm sorry.
Not the collect. I feel like the collective group has some like upside to them.
I think our wide receiver 3, whoever you call it to be, is an exciting wide receiver 3. But I don't like whoever you put as 1 and 2 as our 1 and 2. Yeah, if that makes sense.
If Ayuk was healthy though, you'd feel a lot better.
I mean, he didn't have like an off season last year.
Disgusting sample size.
Dude, it was 7 of the most horrific games ever, and then he tears an ACL. Like, I'm kind of just not expecting much from him. I'm not expecting much from Pearsall. And
so your wide receiver 1's George Kittle.
It really is. But like,
it's like a Travis Kelce situation where you don't really look at the wide receivers as the wide receivers. You look at George Kittle as a wide receiver.
I know you haven't been like super hot on Juwan Jennings really ever. And I get it. Like maybe he's not built to play a wide receiver 1 role, but I kind of feel like he was last year.
I think he did great in the spot that he was thrown in. I just don't want to do that like over time. Like in a situation where it's like you feel good with Ayuk as your 1, like Debo feels good as a 2, they'll get hurt in and out. And yeah, like I'm good with Juwan stepping in as the 1 for like a 2-3 week period, but like
I think he could do that. You also, I would say the other thing with Ricky P is like he had the worst run out for a rookie last year.
Agreed.
Get shot, hamstring fucking injuries, like. And this type of offense, when you need to learn like 3 different roles at receiver, it feels like there was no chance he could have. And I mean, he came on pretty strong at the end of the year, but I don't know.
Like I agree that was the worst possible outcome in terms of an offseason for a rookie, but I just feel like this offseason isn't going – it's obviously going better. It couldn't have gone worse, but like this one doesn't feel like it's going well either. Like he's still hurt, and I don't know. It just –
What's your read on CMC? 975 is a rushing total.
There,
that is 400 yards less than what it was last year, obviously going into the year off his big year. Like, I understand the 2 injuries, but, like, if he's healthy, 975?
See, that's another thing I don't like about this offense. I think there's levels to McCaffrey where it's like, first of all, how many games does he play? Second of all, is he even good anymore?
We don't know any McCaffrey outside of all or nothing, really.
Yeah.
That's so normally, yes, but even, like, last year when he came back, like, he probably wasn't healthy then, but it wasn't good either. So I don't know.
It's
like
over.
Big Jordan James here.
Low-key feels like
his
it's
wife's
over,
pregnant.
dude.
He's
It
having a
could be.
kid. It's over. Purdy though, I'm in on those touchdowns.
Sure.
I like the touchdowns too.
If you think the offense is going to be worse, though, running game-wise, don't you think it's going to put more pressure on the passing game? Like, I feel like that almost –
it can't be worse running-wise than it was last year.
That's fair. That's fair.
That schedule's – it's the easiest in the league, but
Yeah, I mean, people are saying that it is by far the easiest schedule, but
it's got to be.
I don't know, dude.
I mean, you got Carolina week 12. That's a haymaker.
You get to play the NFC South, the AFC South, and then your 2 random games are fucking Cleveland and the Giants.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I don't know. But still, like,
Cleveland's a great defense, though.
Seattle twice. Yeah, like, ugh.
Yeah, defensively, your
you
schedule
never
is a
know.
cupcake for sure.
You don't ever know, but like, how many playoff teams are on that schedule?
How many win totals over 8 are on the schedule?
Is
Not
Houston
many.
the only playoff team?
last year
Rams twice.
Oh, Rams.
and Rams.
Okay.
But
I
Bucks.
mean, like Bucks. Yeah.
But Rams falling off now. Apparently, there's news.
But again, like they're getting the break of like their playoff teams they're facing is Texans, Bucks, not Chiefs, Bills.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
yeah, no, that's good. That's good stuff.
but 10.5.
10.5,
That
that
feels-
was very high. 21. Listen, comeback player of the year for Brandon Ayuk.
Fuck that. Not even.
No shot.
No one's
Nothing.
touching it. If he plays at a high level, becomes the wide receiver 1.
There's
Don't
got,
think there's a
I don't
chance.
have one off the top of my head. There's got to be better names, no?
But like, who's really in the running for comeback this year? At CMC
Rashi,
would be one of his probably his
C-Mac,
biggest.
Godwin, Godwin, maybe. Like,
Yeah,
I
Godwin. C-Mac
Godwin, I feel like
himself.
played enough to where
Tua.
You don't think? Wait, what did you say?
I feel like Godwin played enough to where he wouldn't be like a heavy. Like he didn't miss the whole year.
Didn't he play? I feel like him and Ayuk got injured really similar times. No,
Did they? I thought Ayuk got injured like week 5.
I feel like Godwin was like week 7, maybe.
Was it? Maybe I'm thinking it was later than it was.
I could be off too.
I
But
think
feel like,
you guys are. I think it was like 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
I just don't know how far in it was.
But also, isn't that like?
I think as long as you end the year on injury, you're
Yeah.
kind of
Okay.
eligible.
Yeah.
All right. 10.5. Gun to your head. Tone. You start.
I'm gonna count them right now.
Okay.
The wins: New Orleans wins, home against Cardinal win, Jacksonville win, lose at LA, lose at Tampa, win home at Atlanta, lose on the road to Houston, win against the Giants, win at home against the Rams, lose to Arizona on the road, beat Panthers at home,
Okay, that's where it's wrong.
and then beat Cleveland on the road. I think that's 9. Beat Tennessee at home. I'm gonna say lose to Indy on the road, lose to Chicago, beat Seattle. I think that's 11. That might have been 10.
I
I'm not
really
Schedule's
think that
so
schedule is such
So
fucking
easy.
chalk.
I don't. You never. It. Yeah.
don't,
It's
but, like,
impossible to say though.
You don't,
But
you
you
just
know,
ran
like the
5?
powerhouse teams are not on the schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like
fair.
you know, you're not getting Philly, you're not getting KC, you're not getting Buffalo, you're not getting Baltimore. Like you're not getting the best teams in the NFL.
But there's
no
all-
matter how you look at it.
Sure, but like we don't. You also don't know like Atlanta could be a powerhouse. Tampa could be a powerhouse. I even
Yeah.
think like teams like Tennessee and Indy could be powerhouses. Like their quarterbacks.
Stop.
What do you mean? Last year, everybody was counting.
Tennessee could be a powerhouse.
This happens
the number
every
one
year.
overall pick.
Yes, Texans were number one before they were a powerhouse. Washington was number one before they were a
You're using
powerhouse.
powerhouse very loosely right now. I think of,
but when you see Washington on your schedule last year, were you not like, that is a very tough game?
I also wouldn't consider Washington a powerhouse right now. Like when I'm labeling Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City, Philly.
Yes, that's fair. They're not like top 5, but they're still
Playoff teams. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm looking at like 3
realistically,
teams that are like good.
Yeah. End of year, Bryce Young.
Sure.
I mean, fuck, it's tough.
I will say
That's
the benefit is the Saints and Browns.
That's locks. Giants is also a lock.
Giants I feel good. Yeah, Giants I feel good about.
Yeah. I mean, the win totals of the Saints, the Giants, the Cleveland, and Tennessee are all, I think, 4.5 or 5.5. They're the 4 lowest in the NFL.
Indy could also end up being one of the worst teams in the entire league.
They could,
They have a
but they could
quarterback
also be
situation
really
of
good.
dog
No,
water.
I mean, it's definitely like Jacksonville could go
How's
10
Nick
and 7 or
Bosa?
something.
Is he still ass?
He's not ass. He's
Injured?
never been ass.
Didn't he injure his leg last
But
year?
is he
Hip?
Joey Bosa now, where it's like you're done?
No.
You're done. All right, we can move on. Gun to your head, taking the over.
That's schedule.
I'm gonna take the under, and if they end up winning more than 10 games, I'll die happy with a gun to my head.
Nick,
I'll go under.
J-Mo?
I think I'm gonna lean over.
I'm also going the over. I think the schedule is way too light for a Shanahan-led team to lose that many. There's no way they go back-to-back under 10-win games. Because I feel like with San Fran, it's either like you have to win 11, 12 games or you're winning 5 games. And I don't think there's much in between there with Shanny. So
I think they make the NFC Championship or miss the playoffs. Isn't that a real thing under Shanahan?
Pretty much.
I'm not even saying I think it is a thing.
I think it is too.
But we do have J-Mo's favorite team to talk about up next.
Luka looks
9.5 win total for the Rams. Same Super Bowl winner odds as the Niners with one less win total.
Really?
And we have Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, and Matthew Stafford.
Wait, so real quick, if you had to pick a winner of this division, are you guys going? You guys feel better about the Niners than Rams?
Yes.
I do. Yeah.
I would.
I mean, it's those 3 games. Rams get Detroit, Baltimore, Philly instead of the Bears, Browns, and Giants. Like that's the difference. You gotta. Those are 3 powerhouses versus 3 fucking duty doos.
I guess
Gotta
that's
have the
fair.
duty
But when
dudes.
Jared Goff has a torn ACL by week 15, that's a free win.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I mean, sure.
But hey, when CJ Stroud tears his ACL this year, that'll be a free dub too.
Exactly.
Saquon Barkley goes down with a Madden curse. There's a lot of factors going on right now, fellas.
I'm in on the Rams.
I like the Rams
I've been
too.
out
Okay.
every year since the Super Bowl.
By week 4, you're gonna be
I'm
betting the
literally-
tank.
Ever since they won it, I'm like, they're never getting back to the playoffs, and they've done it back-to-back years now.
All right, so
I'm
you're
in.
in.
Their defense
This is
I
the
think,
first
so good.
year with Stafford that McVay hasn't had a change at OC or DC. First bit of consistency for Stafford.
I think that's big.
And he just got Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
That feels like a big upgrade.
The Adams addition is huge. I will say, like, the OC continuation, I would say last year's version of what they were was like the worst they've been in a long time on the offensive side of the ball. Like there was many games where they were not a good offense. I think a lot of it was
I think a
injury
lot of that
related.
came
Yeah.
down to like stupid mistakes, fumbles, like turnovers at the
needs
goal
to lock the
line.
fuck in.
Like they turn. I felt like they were a high team to just
do you
not
think,
score in
though,
the red zone.
I just remember the game versus Philly. He fumbled twice, and that's just cemented in my head.
Do you think though that they were an inefficient offense like after like week 6 or whatever? Like when they finally had everyone back? Like they were terrible to begin the year for sure, they were missing a lot of pieces.
I would say it's probably more injury related because even like Stafford was dealing with he had
A
some
thumb, maybe.
thumb or shoulder or something.
Yeah.
I remember, and then like Puka and Cooper Kupp were hurt all year. Their offensive line was hurt most of the year as well. I would think it's more injury related, but also I don't know how much like the OC fucking matters.
I also
honestly.
am worried about like how fragile this team really is.
That's a concern too. Their
Yeah.
offense is pretty fragile.
Like
Puka
they lose
goes
one
down.
spot,
Yes.
and it's
Devontae's such an upgrade to Cooper Kupp though. At this point,
yeah. But if you only have Devontae, and then
But I mean, couldn't you make that about any offense?
yeah.
yeah, I mean, fair enough. But I feel like some offenses, like you look at Philly, like they could lose 1 or 2 guys, and they're still a powerhouse. Baltimore, same way. Doesn't
Puka's another one with like 5.5 receiving touchdowns. Like he's getting 160 targets, but he's just got like a low touchdown total because that's what he's done each of the last 2 years, he's been at like 4 and 5.
I kind of love taking the over on Devontae. Like, I think he could pop
Yards or touchdowns?
both. Like,
He
I like
looks
both.
lit in that StatMuse blue jersey.
Yeah, no, it looks good on him.
Adams feels like the perfect addition to like McVay and
I feel like
Stafford.
he's going to be what old Cup was for Stafford, where it's just you look his way, you look his way, you look his way. He's the first read on almost every play. Bars.
I think Stafford could win MVP.
That's a bold. That's a
I
bold
think
take.
it's-
We'll get into
I like
the
it.
MVP talks.
Well, we're talking about the Rams, and I think these are like the 2 best weapons Stafford might have ever had. And
You don't think Bobby Treese in 2021
Calvin Johnson
was
had
an
Brandon
amazing?
Pettigrew.
Literally, he had Tavon Austin.
He had Brandon
I'm saying,
Pettigrew.
you guys have 0 points. Like, it's a hot take, but he's valued as a hot take, and I think he has just as good chance as.
Yeah. I
fucking
mean, so you're taking over 23.5 passing touchdowns easy. MVP,
I wouldn't correlate those.
If he's the under 23, like you can't win MVP with 23
MVP
passing touchdowns.
22 passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Well, it's because you have 14
I
rushing
just would
touchdowns.
rather pick MVP.
No,
Interesting
I,
thought process.
I like it. I like the over there.
Yeah, I would lean the over, especially if I would be taking the MVP. I feel like I'd have to. Passing yards, though, I think you could easily get a 4K a year too as well. Multiple 300 games last year.
They
I think
just
that'd be
don't.
upgrade.
They don't put the passing numbers high for any quarterbacks anymore. I saw a chart.
Nothing.
It has gone back from in 2015 to 2020. Passing volume was like the highest it's ever been, and even into
last 4 or 5
2021, the
years
last
is-
3 to 4. I think it's 3 years exactly. It has almost reverted all the way to 2005.
I saw
where
that.
It's like,
I saw that tweet too.
Yeah,
where it's like
it's
with the
insane.
passing numbers now are like back where they were mid 2000s when you just had like workhorse running backs. Except
Yeah.
we don't really have workhorse running backs either.
We just have
So
running
offenses
workhorse
just stink.
committees.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
actually
just
insane.
like everyone plays cover 2 now. and they
Pretty
just do
much.
everything they
fucking
can to
flag this,
Literally a
flag
PPR
that.
league.
Yeah.
The NFL has become.
PPR and RBs in the first round of fantasy again.
Yeah.
It's actually insane.
Yeah.
Where are you
I
at
mean,
with the Puka at 1,200 yards? Like that's
Feels good. Feels accurate.
I mean, it's just scary because you don't know what Devontae Adams means to like this offense now. You don't know,
Yeah.
like, is he gonna have just as high of a target share?
maybe he's just Julio Jones and the Titans. You know,
Stop.
maybe.
Yeah, I think Puka's gonna be a fucking stud again. Like, I don't see a reason why he wouldn't be. Just McVay has like perfected how to use that man.
McVay's
Where
so
are they
good.
going in fantasy? Is Puka like a full round ahead?
Yeah, like multiple probably. Puka's a first rounder. Devontae's, I think, like end of third.
All right, interesting.
Devontae's
I know-
gonna be
I know
the
where J-Mo's
hottest
getting his
commodity
value.
in the idiot league mates. Everyone in this office is going to be talking about how much they want Devontae Adams. He's going to creep into the
I
second.
like Kyron's yards.
Kyron 1,000.
Yeah.
Kyron spooks me this year.
Kyron's touchdowns, I feel like is good too. Like he just scores
I don't know.
every week. There was a span
Betting
last
on an
week for like
11.5
9.
rushing touchdown total though.
Dude,
for a
but, like-
non-Derrick Henry player is like.
But
Wait, why
last
is
year
Kyron
he
spooky
was,
this
which is like the crazy part.
I don't know, dude. I feel like they want to use another back, and I don't know how much longer he's gonna hold up for.
Who
Like you want
is
to talk
the-
about like the touches? Like Kyron was number 2 in touches last year, and I think he's like been that for.
Didn't
2
he
years
miss?
now.
Am I tripping? Did he miss games last year?
He missed a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Did he?
I don't
No,
know.
because Blake Corum never got like starting.
That's
9.
fair. That's fair.
And they drafted Jarquez Hunter, who I kind of like, and I think like McVay's been talking about him nonstop this offseason.
Interesting. Okay. All right. 9.5
Plus,
win
he's
total.
He's a punt returner now.
That's
Tyron
value.
Williams.
That's value. Gun to your head. Where you going, Tone? 9.5 win total. Or you just
I
taking
think
them
I'm
with the
going
Super
over
Bowl
just
odds?
because I think they win this division.
Going over because you think they win the division. Fair enough. Nicholas?
They gotta get 10.
Yeah, they got a lot of firepower on both sides of the ball.
Dude, we really didn't talk about their defense. Their defense is nice.
Yeah,
Jared Verse, GOAT.
Jared Verse is 4 fucking sacks last
Who's the
year.
DC?
So overrated.
Literally had the OCDC stat. Chris Shula.
Oh, that's right. They got a Shula running their D.
Yeah, I'm back in. Fuck.
Who's their OC, J-Mo?
They're gonna be right on the
Who's
playoff
that
cusp.
didn't sound right when I said it.
No, Shula's their DC, but who's...
Oh, it is?
Yeah. No, I'm
Oh.
saying who's their OC?
I think it's LaFleur's brother, Mike.
Oh, Mike LaFleur. They really got Mike LaFleur
They got
back?
LaFleur, McVay, and
He's getting a
Shula.
job next year for sure.
I'm gonna take on.
If they win the
I think they're a
division,
9-win
I
team.
would put my life Mike LaFleur gets a head coaching
Under
job.
9-win team for Nicholas. J-Mo, where you at?
Over.
Over 9.5, but not high enough for the Niners.
Yeah. When we were doing our playoff predictions last year, didn't you have the Rams going like deep? Like you had them beating the Vikings.
I think I had to make the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
I think you said they played Philly early. No,
They-
I think you said like whoever won that you had going all the way. Or was it? Oh no, the Packers. Never mind. That's what I'm confusing them with.
Shout out the Pack. I'm going to take the under
Only
here.
team that beat them was the Eagles.
That's what, I think you said in the Eagles-Packers matchup. You're like, whoever wins this is going all the way.
Gave you 100 for the other team.
Pick
Fire
the
by
wrong
me.
team. Yeah.
Smooth sailing there. 9.5. I'm going to lean the under here. I think someone's going to get banged up on this team at some point, and there's going to be some rocky waters. A much harder schedule as well, obviously, as we talked about earlier. Obviously, can't predict schedules, but nonetheless, you can see what teams are powerhouses or not. All right, so pretty much general gist, Niners are winning the division.
No.
Don't do that.
Disagree.
Rams,
lock.
you have the Rams winning it?
Yeah.
Rams
would
winning the
think-
division. Everyone, I think,
do you
else is
have
Niners
do you have odds on you for
division winners.
yeah?
I got
I would
Jersey's fucked.
I would take whoever has longer odds between Rams and Niners. I don't
I
think
mean,
there's
if they have a lower win total, they have to have
yeah.
the worse odds or better odds.
the NFC division winners. Niners are plus 160. Rams are plus 185. Cardinals are plus 450. Seahawks are plus 500.
Neither of those seem long enough actually, but fuck, you give me the Rams.
I'd go Rams.
I'm still
Give me the
taking the
Cardinals.
Niners for plus.
The Cardinals
Nice.
plus 450.
Cardinals plus 450. Nick's getting a little spicy there on Will Johnson. I mean, that's it. Will Johnson.
True.
It's literally all you need in your life. Make sure to leave a like. Make sure to subscribe. Also, to fun shit down below and let us know what division you guys want next. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.